Hey there world, I'm the Courageous Goldfish, and today I am spiritually a pigeon whomst has come to peddle my wares. This is in fact a two-in-one because usually I do like a figure haul and then I do a con haul separately. It has been a couple of months since the con in my city, so today we will also be doing ye olde con haul as we do yearly on this channel. It just hasn't been the right time. And I've also been falling really behind on my schedule recently for many reasons. But that notwithstanding, we are here today to talk about some of the newer introductions into my collection. Also, in other news, I am going to be going to a different anime convention this weekend, actually. As of filming this, it's the next weekend it's coming up. And I've never been to a convention outside of my city, so it's gonna be really exciting. It's gonna be super fun. I'm really interested to kind of like see what the local art scene is like in a different place, because usually we get kind of like the same rotation of vendors and they're all lovely, but I'm just hoping that I can discover some new artists that discover some new artists that I'll be really excited about. Can I speak? It's also like 1,000,000 degrees because my house does not have AC and we've been going through a massive heat wave recently, as I'm sure many of you in the world have been. We're gonna start off with the con stuff. I did buy some new artwork and some new like knick-knacky things that I'll be showing off. I am actually working on a project right now, which is taking for frickin' ever, of course. But it's gonna be so amazing when it's done. I'm super excited. And of course, in the back half of the video, I've got some figures to show off. My May Ami Ami order, which included a Grail re-release of mine that I'm so excited to finally have. And we do, in fact, have some long-awaited Erzas to unbox today as well. But yeah, it's gonna be a good one, so grab a snack, grab a drink, grab a pet if you would perhaps like a cuddle, and let's get into it. I was super excited this year when I saw that Sugar Mints was on the vendor list. I've been following them for a while, and I was stoked to be able to finally grab some pieces I've been eyeing. I ended up grabbing this postcard bundle of Sailor Moon-inspired cityscapes. You couldn't buy them individually at this particular alley, and anyway, this particular piece is my absolute favorite of theirs, so I knew I had to have it. I just love how faithful they feel to the vibes and colors of the original 90s anime. This art style is just so dreamy, I'm in love. Also from Sugar Mints, I did end up picking up this super pretty microfiber cloth. I really liked the colors, and at the time I had just upgraded my phone for the first time in like 6 years. I had an iPhone 7 and I upgraded to like a 14, I think, something stupid. It was a long time coming, right? So I talked myself into it as a practical purchase, and then talked myself into getting this Kirby spray bottle for screen cleaner a couple weeks later. Don't blame me, okay? I see Waddle Dee and I fold. Sheep in a raincoat. Sheep in a raincoat. Come on! Are you kidding me? Look at this good boy. This one might actually be my favorite thing I picked up this year. I had a bit of a mental list of things I knew I wanted to try to snag that I had missed out on last year, but this one was a completely random pickup that really spoke to me. The colors are everything I like, and the soft, cozy art style drew me in and reminded me strongly of the vibes I get from like cafe lo-fi. It's hard to describe, but it is actually printed on this super unique, like butter soft kind of waxy paper that makes it feel really nice in a tactile sense as well. Speaking of things I knew I wanted, I did end up picking up another Mako House Genshin print this year. I brought home Beidou and Nilou last year and loved them so much that I thought I might as well grab Kokomi too. Kokomi is actually the reason I wanted to start playing Genshin Impact. I've always had a really big love for Jellyfish, and I thought her character design was so cute that I wanted to try it. So that's a fun little fact. I do actually have her in-game now, which I didn't last year, so that made it a little easier to justify this time around. Speaking of Genshin, I had to snag another puffyfish pin of my main girl, Beidou. I picked up the Kaya one a couple of months back on my trip to Vancouver, so of course, naturally, I needed her to go with him. She's adorable, and I'm still not a fully fledged pin collector, but the army is growing rapidly. One of the other surprise pickups was this beautiful Mau Mau by Libero Art Studio. I
have no excuses for this, other than that I'm in full-fledged Apothecary Diaries brain rot. I will yap at considerable length to try to convince my friends to watch it because I love it so much, and they are going insane. Regardless of all that, this art style is so serene, and I love the visual impact of Mama's fancier clothes, so I really didn't sit on the fence all that long with this one. If there's one thing an ex-Girl Scout loves, it's a good patch. I've had a denim jacket since high school that's been a revolving door of patches I've collected over the years, and you really could not sum up my existence with a better string of words than this. Plus, the colors are just perfect, and I wear it on my cringy shoulder with honor. I'm also super stoked that I was able to pick up this Skyline desk mat from Tokyo Shoujo. I had it on the tops of my list in my mind of things that I knew I'd be trying to get my hands on. I had this desk mat at my office for all of one day before I spilled espresso all over it. So I can, in fact, firsthand confirm that it is washable. The print is super sharp and crisp, and wherever they source these desk mats from must be pretty legit because it really does feel like a high-quality gaming mousepad. Although it isn't being used right now, I'm still glad I purchased it, and I'm hoping it'll see its time in the sun again as part of my PC setup when I move.
Here she is! Oh, I'm so excited! I feel like I say that every time I open a box, but like legitimately, today I am so freaking excited. This is, I think, my first scale Erza. Unless you count the quarter scale freeing bunny, but all my other Erza figures are either like pop-up parades or like prize figures. So I'm really excited, and I got a screaming deal on her. There is very little that could ruin this for me right now. Look at her! She's so freaking good! Oh, I'm so excited! Oh, Belfine snapped. Okay, I think I have to take her body off. Whoop, there we go. Cool, 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 cool. Slight little bit of worry, just a little bit, because her armor pieces on the skirt here may be a transfer problem on the skirt here, because if you're putting it on and off, you know, it might be a problem. But to be honest, I'm probably just gonna put her in one pose and then leave her for the rest of my life, so I'm not too worried about it, but so far, oh my god, she's amazing! Here's the flag. It does what it needs to do, okay? There's enough shading on it that I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. And the creases in the flag, it really does look like it's waving in the wind. I'm very impressed. Alternate head! Oh my god, she's actually way cuter than I thought she would be, to be honest. At first, I'm like, what is this? Why do I need this? Just give me the armor body. But I get it. I understand. She looks great. Flag is gonna be a massive pain in the butt. Hold on. Am I doing this correctly? No, it's upside down. That would, no. What am I doing? Is this right? There we go. Flag assembled. Look at her face. She's gorgeous. Now, I will certainly concede that Belfine is not a name that exudes confidence in this community. They're certainly not known to be the hallmark of quality, and I do have my personal beefs with them. I still can't get over how dirty they did my girl Nejire, but I do have to give them their flowers that they did manage to turn out a pretty good Erza. This figure is pretty much a one-to-one with the 7th Guildmaster art of Erza, which, like, side note, what a girl boss move that was. I really feel she's captured well here. The way they painted her with all these different finishes really does a lot of heavy lifting and making her look visually interesting. The shading isn't overstated, but enough that I feel sufficient effort was made to bring her into reality, and I actually really like her extra torso. The fact that you can clearly tell the same effort was put in, rather than focusing favor on the armored option, is a surprising but entirely welcome experience to have. I am the amount of neurotically insane that I have considered buying another copy of this figure so I can display her both ways. And I actually don't feel that either of them is the quote-unquote wrong option. I must give myself a round of applause for the patience I had in buying this figure. While there was never a doubt in my mind that I would own it, I did want to get what I felt was an acceptable price for her, and my sweet spot was around 17 to 18K. She hovered on Ami Ami for a long while at 19, and there were many times I wondered if I should just bite the bullet, but imagine my surprise when she pops up on Mandarake, unopened, for 15. Getting her for what felt like an absolute steal was a great feeling, and I was so glad to finally be able to add her to the shrine. We're back at it, yet again, with another Ami Ami box. You know the drill. We're just gonna get into it. I'm super excited. These are my May pre-orders, so even though it is a relatively small box, there is actually 2 figures in here, one of which is just a regular pre-order, and one of which is a re-release of one of my Grails. So I've wanted this figure since before I even started figure collecting like 3-4 years ago, so I'm really excited to finally be able to check her out. I am insanely excited. Let's just get into it. We got the May Ami Ami card. Oh my god, this one's actually really cute, I'm not gonna lie. And inside the mystery box today, we have Good Smile Company's Marin Kitagawa and Kotobukiya's Dawn with Piplup! I'm supremely excited. These were kind of no-brainers for me, honestly. This swimsuit Marin, do I need her? Not necessarily, but she was a really great price. I really love this show, and honestly, I think that they did her really well, so I was like, you know what? Not too bad. And because they kept her box so small, shipping was like incredibly amazing. So I think I shipped both of these air for like 2,500 yen, maybe? It was negligibly cheap, okay? So no complaints on that. This one, obviously, I've wanted her forever. She's been on my wish forever. Here we go. Oh, she's really nice. This is a first for me. So her base is clear acrylic, but it's actually got one of these like satisfied peely things. If I could have pulled that in one go, it would have been nice. Yeah, okay, for 11,000 yen, this is pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. This is, you know what, it does what it needs to do, okay? Is she the most fantastic ever? I have other figures in my collection I would rather give that award to, but she is cute. For like a budget figure, she's nice, I like it. Is she the most impactful figure in my collection? Right off the bat, no. But I can't really say that I expected her to be. She's exactly what I thought I'd be getting into, and I hardly find myself disappointed by Good Smile anyway. I instantaneously loved her when I saw her exhibition. She immediately made an impact on me, but in a world full of Marin options, it was really the price on this one that made me feel good about getting this. 11,000 yen for this is literally insane in this figure economy, especially considering how low the yen is right now, and her box is so small she's not fiscally demanding to ship either. She's just a solid, cute looking figure with a minimally intrusive base and a pretty great paint job. So while she may not be the most impressive figure in my collection, and realistically she was not an absolute need, I still love her regardless, and I'm super stoked to have my first Marin. I think my favorite thing has to be her jewelry. That earring stack is so unique to her and such a standout that I'm really glad that care was taken to make it nice. Her body shading isn't crazy, but it really highlights the deeper levels they took on this sculpt to make it look sharp. Her hair is one of my favorite things as well. I think it adds a lot of dynamism to this pose and really puts you in the scene like she's in the middle of doing an action. I have this problem with all Marin figures though, where if I look at her mouth too much, I start to think she looks weird. Like literally on every single Marin figure I have this thought, so I really think it's just a me issue and she's completely fine. However, I do have a few notes of concern. Minorly, I don't really love the weld on the underboob, but it's not viewable in 98% of this figure's viewable angles, so it's a minor nitpick. My main gripe though, and again, this is supremely not serious, but mine came with a really weird extra plastic bit on her bikini string. That's the only thing I would say about the overall quality control on this figure. I'm not too sure what's going on here, and I've never personally run into this problem, so I can't really explain it all too well, but it was just weird. I was actually able to mostly pluck it off using tweezers, but I would be careful about avoiding rubbing her skin with the tweezers while you're doing this if you have to. I did have a bit of a mark on mine after I did this, which I was able to rub away, but it was a bit of an annoying side quest to have to do this in the first place. Otherwise, she's a solidly fine figure, and for the price, I think she's absolutely worth it. Then, of course, next up we've got Dawn and Piplup. I don't even need to say anything about this really because I already know that I'm gonna love her. I also picked up the Dawn with Turtwig from a couple of months ago. I believe that one came out on Christmas, and I absolutely love that one. She's stunning, so this, you know, I'm not gonna have too much to say other than she's great and I'm super happy to finally have her. Okay, first off the bat, I am the biggest Piplup stan in the world. He's like my favorite starter. But I have to give props where props are due. The Turtwig one from the other figure is actually more impressive, like figure-wise. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. But the Turtwig was like categorically perfect. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm really glad that I waited for re-releases on these though. I'm not even gonna lie to you. There is no world in which any of these Pokemon figures are worth 34,000 yen. And that's like on the good end. That's for like a less popular one in this line. Some of the really popular trainers were going for like stupid amounts. So honestly, super glad that I was patient because that makes this figure extremely worth it. If I had have paid aftermarket for her, I would have had some weirder feelings about it. But like this, for 11,000 yen, I could not be happier. She's amazing. The feelings I feel about finally having this one in my collection are mostly made up of an overwhelming sense of relief. Again, much like her sister, this figure hit my nostalgia bone in such a targeted way, I would have been stupid not to own this. Like the others in this lineup, Dawn is painted with careful attention to detail, and you can appreciate the strict adherence to the Pokemon art style that Kotobukiya absolutely nails. Her eye decals are perfect, the shading on her beanie and scarf are sublime, and of course, Piplup is also adorable as well. Kotobukiya hardly if ever misses, especially when it comes to this license, so it's not hard to see why these figures are so sought after in the resale market. It feels like a full circle moment, going from starting my collection, coveting her as a super expensive Grail, to flash forwarding almost 4 years later, finally able to get my hands on her for retail. The patience paid off, and I'm super pumped about crossing this one off the wish list. Now, my prayers are out for a Lyra with Chikorita re-release, and I will have successfully scratched my Pokegirl itch. What do you think it is? Give me a guess. If you had to guess, what do you think this is?
I don't know what you bought, and given the last time we talked, you said you weren't buying anything else this year. I have no idea.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, you didn't have to call me out like that, but okay.
Ah.
I could feel the disappointment from there.
Yeah.
I can't get it in. Bro, that's wild. I actually can't get it in. She's so freaking cool. Look at that shit.
What's with the weird orange on her side boob?
Shading.
Ah.
She's old. She's like 9 years old. She's almost 10 years old, so. Listen, I always struggle to be impartial when I talk about Erzas because I know at the end of the day, my opinion is highly colored by the kind of collection I have and the deep love I feel for this character. But I'm gonna start this off by saying you probably don't need this figure. She shows her age for sure, especially contrasting her with the newer figures in my collection. She's kinda like the grandma in the hierarchy. She's certainly not a figure that's worth what her aftermarket is, and unless you're absolutely dying for this one specifically, you have better options if you're after an Erza figure. However, me being me, she was one of my longest standing grails, and being the only figure of this armor specifically, I felt like I was gonna have to cave eventually. Again, this was a lesson in patience. For years, this figure was nearly impossible to find. I never got any Mandarake alerts for listings of her in the almost 4 years that I've been hunting. Imagine my surprise when she shows up on AmiAmi for a cool 34,000 and that price tag was just way too much to swallow. While yes, I had been hunting her a really long while, paying that much for a 10-year-old kind of meh figure was where my insanity met its boundary. Apparently I'm not the only one because they've had to slash the price a couple times and this exact listing is still available literally months later. Big yikes on that one. So, when Mandarake kindly alerted me that they had this figure for the first time in literal years, that 21,000 price tag didn't seem too steep. In truth, does that still seem like a lot to pay for this? Yes. However, that is a fair and accurate price for the aftermarket on this one, as far as I'm able to tell, and at the end of the day, I'd been wanting her for a long time, and it just felt like the right move with the yen being so low and all that. While I had patience with Dawn, because I was pretty sure she would eventually get re-released, X Plus doesn't exist anymore, and if I wanted this figure, I had to take the hit. The only major gripe that I have with her, and I actually didn't notice this until I had her in my collection for a little while, she's missing her guild mark. Not a massive deal, but a little disappointing, and it really cannot have been too difficult to slap a decal on there, or something at least, considering all the rest of the decal work on her actual outfit. I've half a mind to DIY it, honestly, but I don't know if it bothers me enough to go through the trouble. And with that, we have yet another 2024 haul in the books. I am honestly really excited with what I've been able to do expanding my collection in this year. I think that I've really been able to kind of come into my own. I've got a lot of grails this year that have been really important to me, and recently I unboxed something that is gonna be the cornerstone of my collection for as long as I am still collecting figures, and I'm doing a whole entire like separate formed singular video for that one. So she's gonna get her own time to shine just all by herself because she is that special. So be looking forward to that, certainly. But that ties us all up in a pretty little bow for today. Please let me know in the comments down below what was the most interesting thing that I unboxed today. I'm always curious to see what you guys like and what you guys enjoy seeing on the channel. Not that that necessarily colors like how I buy, because I buy for myself and my collection, but I just think it's interesting to see kind of like what the community gravitates towards the most. I am nothing if not a statistics girly, so I am very interested to know. But of course, as always, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side.